Hello everybody, how's everybody doing? It's me, Crazy Kembe, and I'm back for another review. I haven't done one in a while, so I thought we'd come back with something big. You know, one of those big games everybody's talking about, and as they say, November is a very big month for games. A lot of big titles have been released and will be released throughout the month. The game I picked to review is obviously Uncharted 3, and with that said, let's get into the review of the game. Alright, Uncharted 3 takes place about 2 years after the events of Uncharted 2. You once again follow Nathan Drake and his mentor Victor Sullivan, who didn't really have too big a role in the last game, so it's good to finally see him back in a bigger role. There's a huge focus on the ring Nate wears on his neck, and if you play the first one, that was also a big focus. And the need it is one of the keys that's needed to find a lost and secret city. This is probably the deepest and darkest of the 3 games. There's a huge amount of focus on character development, and you get to learn of the backstory of Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan. And this is a good thing, because think about it, when you were playing the last 2 games, what did you know about these characters? It's crazy how you can play a game for 2 games and know next to nothing about him. So I'm glad they did a little origin story for these characters, as without spoiling anything, they have quite an interesting history with each other. And it's in this game you really get to see what motivates Nathan Drake and why he does the things he does. That's fine and all, but the problem I had with the story is I felt the story had some uneven pacing. I felt, some parts drew on for too long, and there are a few unnecessary characters that don't really fit into the story. I mean, granted the stage they introduced in is cool and actually one of the coolest in the game, but to me, they're still out of place. They're just minor nitpicks, but it doesn't really matter because overall I enjoyed the story for what it was.
With you, I never know if that means a quarter mile or 20.
Uncharted 2 was a very pretty game graphically, and I thought that would not be top for some time, but it's safe to say that this game does everything that game established. They are really pushing technology with this one. This is the best looking PS3 game that has been made to date. No joke. Everything from character expression, lighting, special effects is well done. Just look at the desert stage. The amount of detail put into this stage is insane. In fact, everything in this game, there is a certain amount of polish to it that you might find yourself just stopping for a second to look at your surroundings because it's that beautiful. Sound-wise and music-wise, this is really like a high-budget film. The music score feels like something Steven Spielberg would use in one of his films. The voice actors they got for this thing really make it feel like a movie. The amount of effort and emotion they put into this game, they really sell the game for what it really is. I would like to know who these guys are because they are really talented, no joke. If you really want to know what I'm talking about sound-wise, hook this thing up to a surround sound system. It's crazy how much detail they put into this thing. It really wasn't like a movie now. Bullets were whizzing by, explosions. It was just how crazy it was all sounded. It's like a epic war movie. You can really tell this game has a huge budget, and I highly recommend you try it on surround sound, as it really adds the experience tenfold. Now for gameplay, there's going to be 2 modes to talk about, single player and multiplayer. Let's talk about single player first. What's different from the campaign as opposed to the other 2 games is that while those focused on 1 or 2 primary locations, Uncharted 3 has you traveling all over the world. 1 minute you're in London, the next you're in France, and as soon as you know it, you're in Dubai. So in a sense, each area has its own self-contained arc. Gameplay wise, not much has really changed from Uncharted 2. You're still going around on a linear path to find enemies, figuring out puzzles and so on. Where it really changes is that it fine-tuned and improves everything from the last game. The hand-to-hand combat is much more improved and transitions seamlessly with the gameplay or gunplay, making it for an overall fun experience. The aiming of the game was a little tight. It took some time for me to get used to it, but eventually I got the hang of it. Now the game aims to be more movie-like than ever, so you're going to see a lot more cinematic moments and more set pieces, which are very insane in this game. However, because of this, the gameplay is a little less, and as a result, the game is a little bit shorter when compared to the other 2 games. 21 chapters you can do in 7 to 8 hours about. Now the problem with the game is, for a game so cinematic and movie-like, why is the AI so stupid? I can run circles around these guys all day. Someone tell me please what's different between the hard and normal difficulty, because to me the enemies act the same. They stand around, shoot at you, maybe throw some grenades, and maybe try to come at you, but nothing too special. The game itself is very forgiving. You die, you restart from where you left off with no troubles whatsoever. In fact, I think the game holds your hand a little too much. Now this part kind of annoyed me. Now all Uncharted games have a few puzzles for you to solve, and this game is no exception. However, what annoys me is that the game won't even give you the chance to do that on your own. Like, I was in the process of solving a puzzle, and then suddenly a message pops up. It said, "Do you want to see the answer to the puzzle?" I click yes, and you know what happens? Nate goes into his notebook, and the answer will be there. And you can do this, and there's no penalty whatsoever. I mean, so what's the point then? They give you hints for the puzzle, and believe me, that's more than enough to solve the puzzle. But to give you the entire answer is a little ridiculous, and like I said, no penalties, so what's the point in even trying the puzzle? I just don't like the way games today hold your hand, as if they went already too easy, but whatever. At least the set pieces are still very cool. Okay, let's talk about multiplayer, but before I start, let me just give you a heads up. This game has an online pass. What that basically means is that each new game comes with a pass that you need to unlock multiplayer. Now when you buy a game used or rented, the pass will not be there because somebody already used it. However, you can buy it off the PSN store for $10. Now how does it affect used game buys? It's like this. Okay, for example, let's say I was on Amazon, someone had the game used for, let's say, $46, and someone had the game used for $41. Now let's say you buy the game used for $41. Good deal, right? You turn it on, want to play multiplayer, find out the code is used already, and then you have to go and buy a new pass from the PSN store for about $10. So in reality, you should have gone with the new one that was $46, because now you just paid $51 for a used copy basically. And that's how an online pass affects buying something new and used. But anyway, let's get back on topic. Alright, multiplayer comes in two flavors, co-op and competitive play. Co-op mode basically has its own story arc of its own. There are about 5 chapters to go through. You go through them with 2 other people. It's basically you going through each objective, and in between each objective, waves of enemies. It's nothing really special, but I think what really makes it fun is that you can do it with 2 other people, and the AI is more aggressive, so it can get pretty intense. Next we have co-op arena, which is basically a survival mode, or like a horde mode, in which you just constantly fight off waves of enemies. Let's talk about competitive multiplayer. Not much has really changed from the subway beta they had last month in October, except of course they added a few more things to the full thing. There are 2 new stages added, and of course there are more things to unlock. They have a bunch of modes like Team Deathmatch, Free for All, Plunder, which is like Capture the Flag, Team Objective, and a few others. What's different from Uncharted 2 multiplayer is that everything is customizable. Before, everyone had to start with the same guns and stuff, and as you played and kill people, you found other weapons. But now you can customize what guns and boosters you start out with. You know, you can have like 4 different loadouts, so you can constantly switch in battle. Boosters are like perks in that they do different things. Like I had one that let me respawn quicker, and then I had another one that let me move faster when aiming a weapon. There's a lot to choose from, so there's a lot to experiment with. They also have kickbacks, which are like kill streaks, in that when you have enough medals you can use it. However, you can get medals from doing other things besides killing people. Walking around, finding treasure, avoiding grenades. These are some ways you can get medals. This is a good, fair way to do it, because not everybody is good at killing, and I think by doing it this way, everyone can enjoy themselves and everything the game has to offer. There's a level up system, and the more you level up, the more things you unlock in weapons, kickbacks, and boosters. So that's a good way to keep you playing. Overall, I enjoy this simply because it's simple to play but difficult to master kind of thing. Okay, well let's just wrap this review off, because I'm getting kind of tired of talking. Now listen, no game is perfect, and of course Uncharted 3 is no exception. I don't care what anybody says, but it does something that games don't seem to want to do anymore, and that is give you a complete package. What I mean by that is that when was the last time you played a game that had a focused single player and a focused multiplayer? It's usually one mode is better than the other. Maybe the single player is fantastic and the multiplayer is tacked on, or it's the other way around. In the case of Uncharted 3, they are both great. The single player is fantastic and the multiplayer is also good in its own respect. And it's hard to find a lot of games that still do that. Even though each section has its flaw, if you look at it as a whole, it's a pretty balanced package. You are definitely getting your money's worth. I guarantee you're going to find one thing that you like about this game. I mean, for crying out loud, this game has LAN party. LAN party, that's a pretty awesome feature. But anyway, that's my review, and I think I'm done pretty much it. But if you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Cause nobody wants to be the last one, yeah. Everyone has something. I'm out of here. See you guys.
Looks like those chandeliers are on some kind of pulley system.